This is Jean Watts, and this is Love in 60 Seconds.
We have been married for over 20 years.
And in that time, we have learned a few things that we'd like to share with you.
So if you're single, newlyweds, or seasoned in marriage, we think you will enjoy the upcoming program.
Absolutely. And we want you to like, engage, share, and do all of those wonderful things that we do on Instagram, Facebook, and every other social media outlets. Send us DMs. We want to hear from you.
This is
Love in 60 Seconds.
60 seconds. Love in 60 seconds.
Hey everybody, good evening. This is Frederick and Jean Watts, and this is Love in 60 Seconds. And we are live tonight on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. So we appreciate you guys joining us. Shout out to our YouTube people, our Facebook people, and our Instagram. We're excited to have you. And as always, we'd like for you to like and share. Please share this broadcast with somebody live or tell them to watch afterwards. And if you are on Facebook, or YouTube, we look forward to engaging with you, as well as typing back. Hello, Richard. It's good to see you. Hey, Maddie. It's good to see you. You and Karim. God bless you guys. And on YouTube, looks like the Bibs are there and Michelle Moore. So we're good to see you guys. We're going to get right into our topic tonight. We have a good one. The title's called The Resolution. And it's just something that my wife found about, I guess, about a month or so ago. I just actually, I was in a house on a showing, and I saw it on one of the houses on the wall in the house, and I thought it was such a beautiful piece and a beautiful saying, and I made sure that I went home to look it up, and I found it. This was actually maybe two or 3 months ago. And I said, we definitely need to talk about this at some point on Love in 60 Seconds, because it is like something that's needed and pretty profound. So yeah. Hey, to the Hamiltons, what's up, bro? Jordan and Jessica, it's good to see you. Yeah. Root. We're going to talk about just something that maybe can help couples in whatever stage of marriage you may be in. Yeah. And just sort of resolution that you might be able to apply to your marriage. Yeah. And, like you said, those of you that are on Instagram, please hit those hearts and likes. And those of you on Facebook and YouTube, we want to engage with you. Go ahead and give us a comment. You going to say something? No, I was just going to say that I'd like to start off with that the other topic and then kind of go into the resolution, once we get into that. Okay. So we found something last week, just basically on Instagram. It's about we know all y'all saw it. Yeah, we all saw it. So yes, we wanted to play this for you, and those of you that are on Instagram, you won't be able to see it, but we'll talk about it. It's just a question was proposed, and it was sort of in a funny way about how would you respond, or what's the best response. So we're going to play this for you right fast on Facebook and YouTube, and then we're going to talk about it on Instagram, and let's see if we can get this going. All right, so here we go. Excuse some of the language if there's some harsh language in there. I don't know if it is or not, but just if it is, excuse it. Yeah. Here we go.
All right, so I got a question for you.
Let us know if you guys can hear it.
Between sorry, I cannot have a wife, and no, I have a wife.
Yes.
Okay, you answered that kind of quick. What's the difference?
The difference is the first one is something the little boy would say.
Okay.
What the hell I'm apologizing for? I don't know, explanation. I don't want you.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. It's my boo.
Bye.
Right.
So, basically, the question was, or you can go ahead and talk about it while I try to put this up on the screen. No, what was the question? The question was, what's the difference between sorry, I don't have, sorry, I got a wife, or no, I don't, I can't talk to you. Right. So 2 responses. She was just seeing what her husband was, sorry, I can't have a wife. What is sorry, I can't have a wife? What kind of response is that? I have a wife. Sorry, I can't. I have a wife. Excuse me. A response to like if somebody is stepping to you, what would that be? That's more like an excuse. Yeah. Like, you know what? Sort of, I would do it, but I got a wife. Right. And that's a response. And we're talking about men tonight, that is sort of leaves the door open.
It does.
It says that,
you just gonna Bruno Mars the thing. I'm gonna leave the door open.
I'm gonna leave the door open. That even though you may have some barriers like a wedding ring or something that we've talked about before, it leaves the door open that there might be a possibility.
Absolutely.
Of an engagement.
Like if I wasn't married, girl, if I wasn't married, that's like seriously, like, and I don't know, some of you guys can chime in too, because some guys are like, well, I don't know I was reading some of the comments. Well, what's the difference? Like, are you serious? He just said what the difference was.
It is a difference. It
yeah.
is a difference. Like it's almost like an apology. So if you're married and somebody is stepping to you with the intent of a distraction, of trying to take you into a relationship that is not in your marriage, your response to that is like an apology. Well, I would, maybe if you catch me tomorrow, or maybe if my friends weren't around me, I'd have a different reaction or a different response. Or you know what, right now, I'm not, sorry, I do have a wife, but maybe some other time. That doesn't give a response that's solid, that makes a statement that says, like he said, no, I have a wife.
Right.
What that does, and that response shuts down any opportunity for somebody to think that they might have somebody. Somebody on Instagram says flat out that I'm happily married and not interested.
Yes.
That you're happily married and not interested. That's really good.
And even if you're not happily married, you are married and you're not interested. Until you get back around to your happy place in marriage, hey, you're not interested in in any extracurricular relationships. And the thing is about that, it's the way you say something, it's the way that you reject a person, it's the way that you reject advances. You don't leave that door open.
Right.
And a lot of times what happens in the workplace, what happens especially people that like work and they have these work wives because they work consistently with a person. They work consistently in an office space with a person, or on a line with a person, or in a police station with a person, or at a fire station, or whatever it is. You work with this person of the opposite sex often.
Right.
And they call it, oh, that's my work wife or my work husband. No, my wife at work is the same wife I got at home. Sorry, you're not my work wife. You're not my work husband. Right. It
puts gray areas and makes things that that can limit or open doors to where you think is harmless, and then you turn around and now you are in that relationship.
Absolutely.
And basically making it real simple. When you say sorry or it's an apology, like you're apologizing for something. That's what he said. I'm not apologizing for anything, because one is it's an excuse. And what that is, well, I don't want to have an excuse of being married.
Yeah.
What I want to do is make a declaration.
Absolutely.
That I'm declaring that I'm married. I'm married, period. Like they said on Instagram, period, with the T.
Yeah, that's right. With the T. That's what she said on
We're gonna shut it down.
Absolutely.
And that's sometimes in relationships or in marriage, when you're dealing with a situation where there's an opportunity to make a gray area. Don't make it a gray area.
Absolutely. That's what I said.
Make a declaration.
Yeah, like those times when you are in those situations, as I was getting to my point, I really didn't get to it, I guess. But when you're in those situations, do not allow that commonality to come in. Don't allow that commonality with another person to come in. Don't allow you to be sharing and confiding in too common of a relationship with somebody that's within your space, whether they, work at your church or like I said, at your job, or, anything like that. Do not allow that commonality to come in, because that commonality is the thing that's going to be the detriment and the defeat of you if you allow that to come in, because then that's when you're saying, because it's only a matter of time. And let me tell you, there are some people, there's some men and some women out there that do not care that you marry. They do not care. They will take whatever they can get. Right. They will take whatever piece they can get. They rather have a piece of a man than have a whole man. They rather have a piece of a woman because they don't have to have no commitment to her, and she will be married, and they might be married too. But I'll take a piece of this on the side and then do whatever. Squash it, because not only is that not like that is like detrimental to your relationship, but it could be detrimental to your health depending on the person that you're married to. Okay? And if you're married to me, what? Okay, no.
Or the person you messing with be detrimental to your health. You know,
That's true.
Bring something back to your marriage. And we posted something that we say all the time is that, you know, trust is once it's given away, it's hard to earn back.
Yeah, once it's lost, it's hard to re-earn.
Like you give it away in buckets.
Yeah,
but you earn it back in drops. And so, you know, when you're in those situations, you know, trust is one of the foundations of marriage that it can be gained, but it's a long road back.
Yeah.
So sometimes, you know, you can have people that you associate with that are opposite sex. You can have friends, but your friends of the opposite sex should be your spouse's friends.
Absolutely.
As well. And, you know, and then there's times when people just, you know, try to engage conversations with you that you know that intent is to see where you're at. Sometimes you just let it go. You know, there's sometimes you be like, hey, how you doing? Fine. How are you? And keep it blah, blah, blah. And while you rubbing your face with your marriage ring on, or,
Absolutely.
you know, or, oh, that's a nice picture. Oh, look at that. But when you look at my phone, you're going to see my wife first, you know, while you sit next to me or whatever it is, have barriers, foundations, things to keep those things from escalating.
Yeah.
You know, and you know.
Yeah.
You know the intent for people that, you know, your intent, your heart or people's heart. And so, you know, if you are dealing with those issues, have a foundation or have some barriers to keep yourself from even being tempted.
Yeah, and everyone is human and nobody is above temptation. And temptation is not a sin. Right. Let's make that clear. It is not a sin to be tempted. It's not a sin, Instagram people, to be tempted. What is a sin is when you yield to temptation, when you allow temptation to get into your heart and you pause for it. Yielding is like you kind of pause and say, okay, let me think about it, or let me just imagine it. Right. Because the Bible says, obviously, if you imagine it or you think about lusting after a person, you've already done it. Because you've done it in your heart, and God deals with the heart. So you've already done it in your heart, and it's just a matter of time before your actions will follow. So, and if you've done something in your heart and you haven't done it in your physical actions, you need to really make sure you lick it and get rid of it at that point before you go to a point of no return. And that's super important. Somebody said on Facebook, it's not worth it, and it will not fill the void. It's just a temporary fix for a long-standing problem. Yeah. That's like real talk, like seriously. So, you know, those kind of things, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to that type of scenario, and you make sure that you have the right answers and that you're on guard. You know, nothing is ever going to come when you are being diligent about everything. It's going to come when you relax. It's going to come when you relax. It's going to come when you are, you know, when you're not on guard. But you got to always be, you know, prayed up. You got to always be, you know, focused on what it is that your relationship means to you, because you could throw that away in a moment of stupidity, a moment of indiscretion. You can throw your whole life away, and you don't want to do that.
Right. And a lot of times God does give you a way out. He gives you a way of escape. And so, you know, maybe you're dealing with something, and when you just get out of it or say no, you know, that's your way of escaping, instead of, you know, saying, oops, sorry, I'll stay sort of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You know, what you're doing is you're dabbling. And then eventually you're going to keep dabbling and dabbling. And that draw gets so strong that you dabble yourself right into a situation that you never even planned on being in.
Yeah.
And then now you have to deal with the consequence of that. Yeah. So like we say, having foundations, having barriers, wearing your wedding ring, communicating with your spouse, saying, hey, I have this issue, or guess what? I need this from you. You know, I need this intimacy from you.
Yes.
I need this communication from you. I need this from you because I'm feeling sort of
some type of way.
Or I woke up today and I got a bad attitude. Pray for me. You know, that communication is setting barriers so that you won't just be like flipping out.
Absolutely.
You know, and then your spouse will be able to cover you and be like, okay, this is what we need to deal with.
Absolutely.
You know, instead of blindsiding them, you know, and be like, well, you know, I did this or I did that. And, you know, they had no idea.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to make sure that you are communicating, even if you're having a moment of weakness, communicating, like you said, if you have you're having a bad attitude and things like that, because if you're not communicating that, because what can happen is that's when bad stuff can creep in. Because if you got a bad attitude, then you snapping on your spouse, and you continually snapping on your spouse, and your spouse is thinking, now, all right, now keep on, because I have not done anything to deserve you acting salty to me. Keep on. And getting into that, then that person will be like, when an opportunity for them to do wrong comes up, they feel justified in that opportunity. Well, my spouse was acting crazy to me, or I was feeling some type of way towards my spouse, and I feel justified in this. But you can't do that. You have to have communication. You have to have openness and be like, you know what? I really love you, and I really need to, make sure I'm sharing this dialogue with you. I'm feeling some type of way today, and I don't know why I'm feeling like this, but this is how I'm feeling. So the other person can at least respect that, and then know how to pray for you in that, and respect that you feeling some type of way, and not pop off because you feeling some type of way, or snap back because they snapping at you, because two people snapping don't really solve nothing. It does not resolve any problems. So
right. So tonight we're going to talk about just like a resolution that you can apply to your marriage, and it has to deal. It was a resolution for men, but it's also that if you're a woman watching, you can apply this as well and say this so well. But we also want to just want to talk about it for men, because a lot of times when we deal with relationships or whatever, especially when you're dealing with infidelity, it's not men and women cheat, and so in a marriage, both people fail. But the enemy, as we believe as believers, we believe that if the enemy can attack the head, the priest of the home, not only will he destroy the relationship, but he will destroy the family, the entity, everything else if he cuts off the head. Just like in reality, you cut off a snake's head, it can't bite you. It'll die. You cut off anything at the head and it will die. So if you're able to, if he can destroy the head or the man first, just like, because, and here's a thing about divorce. We talk about divorce as being, people use divorce as an option to a solution, a resolution of a problem. And the reason we don't believe in that aspect is because it's not just you that's affected. It's not you and your spouse. It's your kids. It's your family members. It's your community. So when you look at it that way, that when you file for divorce, especially as believers, the enemies can destroy much more, than just your two relationships.
Absolutely. It's usually it's your relationship, whoever you are wrapped up. Especially if you have kids, but you're wrapped up with so many people. You're so many people. It's your in-laws and your cousins and your friends. Like, who gets the friends, and who I get to still like and not like, and all of those things. There's so many things that's wrapped up in in the essence of whatever your couple is, in the Smiths and the Browns and the Apples or in the Pears or whoever you are.
You don't know who's watching,
who's
rooting for you,
who is rooting for you.
Who is saying, well, look at how they're living, as an example. You may never know that. And then having to be like Evelina Jones says, intertwined with all those things in the community. When that's destroyed, it sets back, because people be like, first of all, if you've been married for 30 or 40 years, and you got grown kids, they'll still be affected.
They are still affected
by a divorce. And then if you've been married, for 5 or 10 years, and your friends want to get married, and they be like, they didn't make it. What choice do I have?
Right.
What hope do I have to do that? So there's so much more that goes into it. So we're gonna do a declaration that everybody can use, but this is more to the men, and it's actually a resolution that you could apply. The first part says that I do solemnly resolve before God to take full responsibility for myself, my wife, and my children. And that's what being a priest in the home is that your actions is not just just for you. If you are selfish and all you think about is what you want as a man, then you're being selfish. You're not loving your spouse and your family the way God wants you. So we're challenging you men today to say that you're going to solemnly take responsibility for not just yourself, but for your family.
Absolutely. And I was just saying, look at this camera too, because
you're
giving all the love to Instagram.
I know, but normally they don't get it. So we're trying to do both of it tonight.
Yeah.
So.
No, that was awesome, baby. You can continue.
And I'm continuing because she can't see.
Oh, hush. I can't see now. I got some glasses. She's my
Secondly,
reader.
is I will love them, and them as our family.
Yep.
Protect them, serve them, teach them the word of God as a spiritual leader of my home. And that's important because a lot of times, like I have boys, and then a lot of times I try to spend time with each of them even separately.
Yeah.
Right. And I will and do things with all of them, but to get them one-on-one time. And so I got a chance to spend some time with one of my sons this week, and just me and him time. Yeah. And in that, I wanted to make sure that even though we were having a good time and doing some things, that I want to make sure that they have a foundation of spirituality, no matter what their dreams or what their goals are, is that when at the end of their last breath, that I've taught them in my last breath, that I taught them that whatever they're going to take, they can take over into eternity and know that they're going to be all right. And that's what's most important.
Amen.
And so a lot of times we have to have men as a resolution to make sure we're God first, family second, and then, like I like to say, Smith and Wesson after that. and that is because I'm committed to protecting, loving, and making sure that my family has a solid foundation.
So, and protecting also means protecting her heart, right? Protecting the woman's heart, protecting your children's heart. Because if you go gallivanting off and that's, I'm just gonna act a fool. I'm gonna go find me somebody that's 19 and they grown. I'm gonna get me a girlfriend the same age as my sons. So what do your sons think of you if you do that? What are they gonna think of you? So that breaks their heart. That you broke their mother's heart.
Right.
So protecting also means protecting my heart. It means protecting our children's heart and protecting those that love us and that are rooting for us. And that, you got some people, that was my favorite couple or whatever. And then something happened. You're like, are you kidding me? It protects those. We're not to be a stumbling block to other people. Protect what God gives you. And he gives you community. He gives you a village. He gives you people in your life. Protect their hearts as well by living like you're supposed to live.
Right. And it's an action that's something that has to be done. And a man should always resolve to do those things. And it's something that, like, if you look this resolution, we found it on what's the resolution for men, you can Google it.
Yeah.
It's something it's a book, but it's something that each person can apply, daily.
Absolutely.
Try to, something that you can think of daily. The next part is something that you can both say, I will be faithful to my spouse. It says my wife is faithful to my spouse, to love and honor them, and be willing to lay down for my life for them, as Jesus did, or Christ did for me.
Yeah.
And that's how we should live. We had an instance the other day where my wife was handling a situation that she did not tell me about at the time, because I live by that rule, meaning that if you mess with my wife, then you don't have much longer before you taking the last breath. And not to the fact that I love God. I'm a Christian. I don't believe in violence, but I will violently defend those I love to my last breath. And because but even though that's a physical, you should be able to do that spiritually every day by praying over your household. And
let me interject here, since he mentioned that incident. Sometimes, ladies, like, you can talk to other men, and this is for me. Sometimes you can talk to other men, and it makes me appreciate my husband so much more, because there's men out there that are absolute idiots, like absolute buffoons, and you are like, are you seriously kidding me? Like, are you really talking like this? Like, do you really think like this, or you really act like this? You act like a child. Is what you want to say. So. Sometimes when you see other men, it makes you appreciate your spouse. But even if you don't, and even if your spouse has places where they can grow in, remember the places where they're good in, and praise them in the places where they're good in. Because let me tell you, they can be so much worse. So begin to praise them in those places that they do well, even if it's just one thing. If they tell you that you're pretty and they make you feel good, like, honey, I love you so much when you tell me I'm pretty, and you make me feel so great when you do that. You know what I'm saying? Well, I love you when you rub my back, or you rub my legs, or whatever it is they do. I love it when you make me popcorn at night.
Right. And we have to do the same. Men really equate respect a lot of time with love.
Yeah.
And a lot of times a wife can sow into her husband by respecting him, by building him up, not tearing them down. But it's also the reverse of that, and the reason why that resolution says, that I'm going to be faithful to my wife, is because a lot of men sometimes will think, well, I'm a good husband because I'm a provider. Because I provide, I can pay the bills, I bring home, all the money or whatever.
Right, but you're mean, and you're a jerk.
Because you don't have that part of the resolution,
right,
which is to love, be faithful, to love and honor her.
Yeah, and protect that heart.
Protect that heart.
And that means protect it from you acting a fool too.
That's very true.
It means protect it from if it's you that's the one that's the culprit, protect it from you.
And this is episode 73. We talked about loving and honoring, protecting
times.
And all that, and the love languages and all that. Please go back and watch those. But it's important because even in this resolution, it talks about those things and setting foundations.
Yeah.
And after that, you want to read the next one?
I'm gonna read. You heard Mr. Watts. Let me see what it say.
Bless.
Okay. I will bless my children and teach them to love God with all of their hearts and with all of their minds and with all of their strength. You can't teach something you don't know. If you don't know math, you can't teach it. Yeah. So you got to do it first.
Yeah, and you can't teach it if you don't believe it.
They can't teach it if you don't believe it. So you gotta develop and cultivate your relationship with God so that you can teach your children to be good people in this world, and not only that, but that they will make it and see God's face and peace after. So we try not to get too churchy, but that's who we are. We love God, and that's the foundation of successful relationship. And learn to pray. Gosh, I know it's so hard to try to get together and pray together every day. That's a hard thing to do, but try to do it. If you can't do it but once a week, do it once a week, but try to do it daily if you can. But if you and definitely pray for your spouse. If you can't pray with your spouse, pray for your spouse. If your spouse is acting like you don't like them acting, and you're not praying for them, blame yourself first, because you're not talking to God about it at all.
That's good.
You're the first person to blame. So if you're praying, then you can be like, okay, God, let's show him how he acting, Lord. Show her how she's acting. Show her heart. But if you're not even praying for your spouse, do not complain to anyone because you're not praying.
And I like that resolution. How it says to teach them to love God.
Yeah.
As an aviator, as a pilot, one of my skill sets that I honed and became really good at was when I taught it. I was a flight instructor. And so I had to teach the lessons over and over again and then go and show the student how to do that.
Yeah.
And so because of me preparing and me being able to do something over and over again and teaching, I got really good at my craft. And that's the same thing that this resolution says. When you teach your spouse, your children, how to love God, then that means something that you practice, that you actually get better. Like you talked about praying. We never prayed every day together. We don't always do it, but man, when we have been consistent on that, our relationship goes to a different level. It goes to a higher level. So we do believe that that's an important part and a good foundation.
And not only that, when we do make sure that we're intentional about praying together, like the Bible is so right. One can put 1,000 to flight, and two can put 10,000 to flight. When we're praying together, our money, our relation, our health, we lose weight. We look like the beautiful people. When you can tell when the Watts is praying together, because listen, we must not have been praying together. But when we're consistently, diligently seeking God, because we look like, and everything lines up in the way that it should. When you're doing that, you move your whole family into the win column.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But even like I said, if you can't pray with your spouse, pray for them, because that also moves you to the win column. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
The part of the resolution that we just also talked about, but it also says, I will train them to honor authority and live responsibly, and I will confront evil, pursue justice, and love mercy. Your actions, how you walk and talk and how you speak is important, because words, they do have some meaning, but you can say something, but if you don't walk it and talk it, don't love it and stand for something, then you fall for anything. But it's really important as a man to be able to say, I'm going to stand for what's right. And then I'm going to be able to say, when I'm wrong, apologize. or when I'm wrong, say, you know what? It's not weakness to be. It's weakness when you're prideful and can't apologize.
Yeah,
But it's strength when you can say, you know what? I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I'm growing in this area. Forgive me. You know, that's strength. And especially when you do that in front of your children, it's teaching your children how to be respectful, how to love. If you have boys, it's teaching them how to be a man, and you have girls, it's teaching them how that woman, how she should be loved by.
Absolutely, absolutely. And not only that, it says, you know, I will teach them how to, you know, respect authority and things like that. And somebody had said something like, as I was dealing with that situation the other week, just popping off and was like, you know, hoping that my kids would be disrespectful. And I said, well, that's not going to happen because I treat my children with respect. And you know, not that my children are perfect, because they're not. Trust, like I want to put them up against the wall sometimes too, but they do not disrespect me. They do not disrespect my husband. They don't speak to us disrespectfully. And as a matter of fact, if they raise their voice a little bit too much in each other's presence, and that includes our oldest, my bonus child, Dejan, he does not let his brothers talk to me any kind of way. Like if it seems like they talking a little too much, he'll check them. And they do that with each other. They be like, hey, that's mom. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not equals. Like one time not too long ago, one of my sons was like, well, you know, I don't want to do that. And mom, and he's like, oh, wait a minute. Y'all not equals. Don't talk to mom like that. You're not our equal. And he was like, you know, he apologized. Well, mom, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, you know, raise my voice or whatever. I was just trying to get my point across, which I understood. But when you teach your children and your family and you live by respect, they will respect you. They will talk to you, and they will talk to those around you with respect.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Another application to this resolution says that I will pray for others and treat them with kindness, respect, and compassion. And I will work diligently to provide for the needs of my family. It's funny how the provision for the man is after all those other things. So it's after Christ. It's after your duty to love, to protect, to honor, and then provide. You know, and a lot of okay, sure. Funny. Well, some things. I guess even one of the things that I've seen on Instagram was talking about some how women be like, well, you know, the provision should be first.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want a man unless he can do this, this, and that, or unless he's established here, here, and here. You know, and a lot of the 20-year-olds and all that, they're different as far as their goals. You know, like they want the cash, the money, and the relationship, or they'll sacrifice the relationship. And most of them in their 20s not even thinking about marriage, and they're like forever. You know, not till I'm like, sometimes you be, oh, well, I'm 20, that's too young, maybe 30 or 40. They're like, nah, I ain't want to be married. You know, I can do this on my own. And it's because, you know, there's been a shift in that family, and some of it is spiritual, because if you can stop making families and you stop making communities, you know, you stop making churches, you know, all those things. And so it's good to have a relationship. I couldn't imagine going 50 and 60 years by myself. You know, that's just for me. That doesn't work for me. And a lot of times, because there was no declaration at home to have these things, then you have those thoughts and ideas. And, you know, marriage is not for everybody, but this is a marriage blog, and we're 1160 seconds, and we're for it. And, you know, we are team marriage, and it's a good thing to have. But, you know, the providing is after the love, the respect, the honor that is due to your spouse. It doesn't matter who's the, you know,
and others.
Who's making the most money or whatever, or who's doing what in the marriage, as long as you're doing it as team Watts, Team Jones, Team Smith.
Absolutely. It says, I will work diligently to provide for the needs of my family. I will forgive those who have wronged me, and I will reconcile with those who I have wronged. That's powerful. You know, the forgiveness is huge. Forgiving, you know, if your spouse has wronged you, your wife's mother, whatever, forgiving is huge in having a successful marriage, because we're human, and I don't care, you're going to make mistakes. And people going to make mistakes, and they're going to make them more than one time. You know what I'm saying? They're going to make them more than one time. But you have to have the spirit of forgiveness, and then you have to know when you're wrong and be reconciled and go and apologize and make amends to those whom you have wronged. And sometimes you humble yourself and you apologize, and you definitely were in the right to be angry, but you humble yourself and you reconcile more so with the idea of reconciliation as opposed to who's right. So you don't have to be right, you just want to be reconciled, and that's a great thing.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true. Right over reconciliation. I mean, when you think about it, what is better? It's better to be together.
Yeah,
you know, it's
be
better
reconciled
to be reconciled than to be right. I like that. And I like this part. It says, "I will learn from my mistakes, repent of my sins, and walk with integrity as a man answerable to God." And that goes back to like I talked about pride. It's like you're gonna fall down, you're gonna make mistakes, you know, and that's the thing. You know, what I try to instill in my young men is that, you know, you get knocked down, life will knock you down sometimes. But what makes a man is that he has the ability to get back up and then stand back up. You know, so and then when you make mistakes, you need to repent, not only to God but to your spouse as well if you've done something that has harmed them, or to your children. You know, don't be like, you know, oh, I'm the parent. You know, sometimes if you spoke to your child, you know, that's crazy, you know, or whatever, say, you know what, I'm an adult, I'm human, I made a mistake, you know, I'm sorry, I should not speak to you that way, you know, to hurt your feelings. I love you, I will discipline you.
Absolutely.
But and then we're not friends.
Right.
I mean, I'm your dad, you know,
Right.
I'm not your buddy,
Right.
you know, I'm not, but I will never disrespect you, because if you disrespect them, how are they going to respect you?
Absolutely, because they don't learn the pattern of respect. They learn the pattern of respect from you. And if you don't teach them the pattern of respect by respecting them first, then they're not going to know how to respect you back. And that's just the way it is. And that's all goes, you know, for your relationship as well. And I will seek to honor God, be faithful to His church, obey His word, and do His will. And we can wrap it up. And of course, I want to just interject that, you know, why is being a part of a church important? It's not because, you know, you just got to go to all a bunch of services and all that kind of stuff. It is being assembling yourselves together in a church. It brings accountability. It brings accountability because sometimes people live rogue lives when they're not in church or not being faithful to church. And, you know, when nobody's really looking at your life, you can just do whatever and act however. But when you are a part of community, a part of church, that is accountability. And it helps you to live up to the standard that you are. And people are like, oh, well, you know, you a fake person. You living a fake life if you're not, no, you trying. You growing. Like, you know, I had one young man talk about his wife. Oh, she just fake. She go to church. She act all super holy. But no, she growing. Leave her alone. She's growing because she's not as bad as she used to be. You should be happy that she is going to church and she's growing. Give her time to grow. And, you know, whether it's a male or female, husband or wife, give your spouse room and space to grow. You know,
and that's because whether you've been married 1 year or 100 years, you're going to change. You're not even the person that you were yesterday. So if you've been in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years of marriage, wherever you're at, you're going to change. And if you don't communicate, or if you don't have patience for that, for you, even your spouse to grow and change, then it's going to be a hard walk. Shout out to the Masons. They celebrated 49 years of marriage just a few days ago.
Longer than I'm alive. Like legit.
We can't wait to have them on the show because, you know, there's also wisdom and experience you can learn from people who have been through things. And a lot of times, you know, that's one of the reasons that we started this, is because you want to, sometimes even in the church, people don't share the bad. They just share the good. They present that image. And on social media, you have the image of how successful and how people are. It's because that's what they present. But you also need to know how do I get through the bad times? How do I get through a situation where my wife talks to me crazy? How do I get through a situation where my husband is gambling all our money away? You know, all these situations that sometimes happen. But if we don't ever share it or have a solution or a community, then people don't know how to get through.
or they don't know that other people have had that problem. Because one of the things that we deal with here, and we love the fact that you guys come on and that you comment and that you watch, that is so awesome. But we have far more people that contact us offline than we do that watch in the moment. And a lot of times people just, they don't want to share, or they don't want to act like they want to build their marriage. They don't act like they want to be like, oh, well, you need help. Everybody needs help. I don't care who you are. You need, and it may not be like serious help, but everybody needs to cultivate their marriage and their relationship. They need God's help to be whoever it is that God wants them to be in that relationship. And so people don't want to admit or make it appear like they're having trouble. You know, it's going to come out. If you're having trouble, it's going to come out eventually, because y'all not going to be together, or y'all going to be busting up in the streets or something. You know what I'm saying? So there's no shame in it. There's no shame in building your life and building your marriage and doing things like this to help keep your marriage strong or make your marriage strong if it's weak.
That's good. And then the last part of this resolution, it says, I will courageously work with the strength God provides to fulfill this resolution for the rest of my life and for His glory. What a declaration. Yeah. But guess what? You know, if you can't find this, or you have your own resolution, the resolution that I like, and basically in a nutshell, is Joshua 24:15. Yeah. And that says, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Yeah. If you can't get all the rest of that right, and that's basically what this resolution is that you put God first. Yeah. And then if you put your trust in Him and you seek after Him, He'll show you how to love. Yeah. He'll show you how to love your spouse. He'll teach you how to be a good husband, a good wife, a good father, a good sister, a good brother. Yeah. You know, because you're seeking Him first. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all its righteousness and everything else. And once you get all that, everything else will be added, you know, to you. A lot of times I had to tell one of my children the other day, it's like, you know, fame and fortune is good, you know, and dreams and desires to being the best, being successful and all that. That's great. That's the desire. And God puts those desires in you. But if you don't put Him first and don't seek Him first, you're just going to be a ship without a sail, just rudderless, just going to and fro, being blown each and every way. And that's not what manhood is. And that's not what being a man is. And that you can't be a successful husband, successful father, or have a successful relationship if you don't have a good foundation, which should be Jesus Christ.
That's true. That's very true. Well, guys, we appreciate you tuning in with us tonight. And I hope you got something out of it. And I hope you at least got how to answer if somebody asks you or approach you. No, I'm sorry, I got a wife, I got a husband. I'm like, no, I'm not interested. I'm married.
Yep. So don't make it an excuse, make it a declaration.
Absolutely. Your marriage is not an excuse to turn down sin. It's a declaration.
It's a declaration. Yeah. So we appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Instagram. Thank you guys. We saw all those hearts that you were sending us. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Follow us on Wattsup Video on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, we're at Wattsup Entertainment. And if you're YouTube, we're at Wattsup Video. So we appreciate you guys. Keep God bless you to the Moors. You know, we appreciate your DMs. We appreciate you reaching out to us. We love hearing from you. Yeah. And we will see you next week. This has been Frederick and Jean Watts. And this is Love in 60 Seconds.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Well, guys, we have to wrap it up this evening. We really hope that you've enjoyed our conversation.
Yes, this conversation has been amazing, and we want you to tune in again next time so that we can discuss more of these amazing topics and these topics of interest. Then don't forget to DM us, contact us, reach out to us, and we will definitely respond back.
If this has been Love in 60 Seconds, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, good night, everybody.
60